consistency builds momentum.
Mm-hmm.
And so we kind of talked about this earlier, but we might not see overnight results, but a lot of times what can happen is if you're consistent and you're working on something, people don't see it. We talk about the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg or whatever. People don't see everything that's happening, and they don't see the history of the buildup. And then something seems to explode onto the scene, or revival explodes, and it's just like, whoa, what happened? Well, I mean, there are things that happen overnight. There's miracles, and there's all kinds of stuff like that. But a lot of times, it didn't just happen overnight. There was even a lot of times people getting the Holy Ghost, and us praying people through. Even that, I mean, it's God's work. It's what God does. But even that, it comes from the staff preparing their hearts and being full of the Holy Ghost and setting the tone and the atmosphere and all of that. So it's often weeks and months prior, and then all of a sudden this explosion happens, or seemingly an explosion.
We could even use the analogy when it comes to fitness. I'm going to throw out some numbers that's just off the top of my head. I haven't done any research on this. But it takes about 3 to 6 weeks for you to see any results from you going to the gym.
Yeah.
Before you
see it. And that's tiny.
To see any results. And then it takes 7 to 12 weeks before anybody else ever sees any results.
Yeah.
That's a long time. 12 weeks is a long time.
Yeah, that's a long time.
That's 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
That's 3 months before you see anybody else sees any results that you, and this is with consistency.
And then it's like, did you lose a little bit of weight? And you're like,
and you've been starving yourself. Salads only, protein drink. That's it. No donuts. No coffee, or a low-fat, sugar-free coffee. It's true. Yeah, and you're just putting all the sacrifice, all the work and everything in, and then it's finally like you said, somebody knows, like, oh, something's happening over there. Yeah, something's going on. Something's finally taking place.
And so, like that with the fitness goals, too often we joked the other night. I had Anisha and Shaylee on, and we were joking because Pastor, he was joking too, of course, but he said, "Yeah, I went to the gym 4 times in 4 weeks and walked on the treadmill. Didn't see any results, so I quit going." And so that's a lot of times that's how we can be. Is we're like, man, we want this to happen in our ministry, and we're like, okay, well, this is what we should do, and let's follow this path. And then it goes 2 weeks and nobody gets the Holy Ghost, or we don't have a good altar service, and we're like, well, that didn't work. Well, you got to give a little bit more.
You got to give some time. Effort. I mean, we're talking about building momentum.
Yes.
We don't oftentimes, they're a lot less commonly used now than they were at one time, but trains. Man, it took a while for a train. It took a lot of power. A train, it took to get a lot. It took a lot of time for it to build some momentum,
but once it did,
but once it going, I mean, once it got going, you could not get that thing to stop on a dime. It was hard to get a train to stop.
Yes, because so much momentum.
So much momentum. There's so much power. There's so much force behind it because it's all driving in one singular direction.
That's good. Yeah, and which, to bring up the negative side, is be careful the pattern that you fall into, because the consistency. I am a believer that consistency does build momentum, and so if we are consistently, I'll just use an easy one that won't hurt anybody's feelings. Hopefully, is late. If we are consistently late, then we will build that momentum, and then it will spread like a disease.
Exactly,
and it becomes a culture.
It does.